So we're going to be taking this season of Lent to take a closer look at just how needy we are and how to best meet those needs. And as a result, how to live a better life and how to be healthier. We can learn about that as we can learn about everything we need to know about life from Jesus, because he faced the very same needs and temptations that all of us face. Mark tells us about that from the beginning of his gospel. We read part of that today. He wrote this: "The Spirit drove Jesus out into the desert, and he remained in the desert 40 days, tempted by Satan. He was among the wild beasts, and the angels ministered to him." Now, Matthew and Luke tell us this story too, but they fill in all of the details, especially when it comes to those temptations. So we're going to dig a little deeper this morning. St. Matthew writes this: "After fasting 40 days and nights, he was hungry. The tempter came to him and said, 'If you are the Son of God, command these stones to become loaves of bread.'" Now, Jesus, like all of us, experienced hunger. He had a legitimate need for food. The temptation of Satan was to meet that need, but in an illegitimate way. That's the first temptation for us, too, when it comes to our neediness. That is, meeting legitimate needs in an illegitimate way. Now, you and I, we will be tempted from time to time to do something we know is wrong in order to meet a real and honest need. For example, we have a legitimate need to work and to earn a living. Maybe you're out of work, and so you desperately need a job in order to pay those bills and to feed your family, and so you lie on your resume. That is meeting a legitimate need in an illegitimate way. And that's our first temptation. Matthew tells us about a second temptation based on another need, and it goes like this: "Then the devil took him to the holy city and set him on the pinnacle of the temple and said to him, 'If you are the Son of God, throw yourself down, for it is written, he will give his angels charge over you.'" So the temptation from Satan was for him to just win over the people of Jerusalem in one magnificent and miraculous display, to go where everybody could see him and to pull off this incredible stunt. But the real temptation for Jesus was to take a shortcut, to choose the easy way out. The temptation was to avoid the misery and sacrifice of the cross and go right to the glory instead. To just skip over Good Friday and jump right to Easter Sunday. Well, that's the same temptation that we face when it comes to our neediness. Meeting legitimate needs by taking shortcuts. So this is basically like when we're feeling hungry and we just grab a bag of chips. But it can actually work itself out in much more complicated ways in our lives, too. For example, it's like that woman who stays with the guy that is not good for her. He has proven to not at all be interested in a long-term relationship, but she stays with him anyway, because it is a shadow of her own need for intimacy. Or it's like that family that desperately needs a rest and a break from their crazy and insane schedule, and so they go on vacation. But on that vacation, they maintain an even crazier schedule. So when they come back from their vacation, they need a vacation from the vacation. Or this is like the guy who has a real and heavy hurt on his heart, but instead of talking about it with someone and getting the help and the healing that he needs, he takes it out on other people, usually those closest to him. The second temptation when it comes to our neediness is to just jump to the easy solution and take a shortcut. Matthew tells us about a third temptation that Jesus faced, and we all face it too. It goes like this: "Then the devil took him up to a very high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and all their magnificence. And he said to him, All these I shall give to you, if you will prostrate before me. Sneaky. The devil is always sneaky. Friends, Jesus came to establish authority over all of the kingdoms of the world, to reclaim the authority that our first parents gave away in the Garden of Eden. The devil, Satan, tells Jesus that he can have it all. He can have everything that he came to accomplish if he does just this one simple thing. If he will just bow down and worship him. In other words, if Jesus will just treat Satan like God. Now that sounds like a pretty alarming proposition, but it's actually something that we do too. In fact, we do it all the time. The third temptation when it comes to our neediness is meeting a legitimate need by worshiping it. We turn our needs into gods. And then the whole of our life is all about those needs, giving our attention, our affection, and our ability to them, pursuing them at any and all costs. It's like taking that special someone and giving to them the whole of your heart and expecting in return everything, right? All of the fulfillment of your wishes and your desires, hoping that they will be everything for you. But it is a scenario that is destined to disappoint you because people aren't perfect. Or maybe you make money your God, or you worship sports. For some people, it's as basic as food, right? They become obsessed with food in a way that really becomes worship. And of course, any other kind of addiction falls into this category too, whether it's alcohol, drugs, porn, gambling, you name it. All of those things can become a form of worship. Now, sure, we have needs. We all have needs. That's not the question. The question is, what do we do with them?